Okay, let's rock and roll. Today my legs stiffened up early. Actually, as soon as I moved into the wind. And while I have a major chore to do, they decided to open that fucking clinic, even though almost nobody, no hypochondriacs showed up today. It's been open since 8 a.m. There hadn't been more than 3 or 4 people, maybe 4 people all day. And could have gone over there to do but that opens me up more to wind. I wanted to get in that corner and put them blankets and mylar sheets together, sew them together. So I spent most of the day plotting and planning a jump to Sarasota, Florida, which I now see is surrounded by suburbs that used to be nothing. I managed to locate a place within a couple blocks of the Greyhound station where I could possibly get a rest without paying a shit ton of money just on the first night while I scope out the 7-Elevens. I'm already working on that, but I'm also, it'd be better for me to dig in here. For one thing, the median household income here is all in the top 10%. They have a super low poverty rate. In that area around Tampa and south of Tampa, which are heavily populated, through the roof. I guess what this brings me to is the bonus round right off the bat. It's been now something like 47 and a half, 47 years since I hitchhiked through Sarasota, Florida. And I got to the south of town. Some idiot's backing up in the intersection. I got to the south of town, and the other side of the road was like there was like a country club golf course there, but there was just all palmettos. And so I went off into the bush and threw up my tent and had a good night's sleep. I was tired. I had also, like the night before, I had spent the night with a lovely young lady who actually I think her family owned ran 3 ladies' fashion places, and we had a fun night several times. 4 to be exact, before I just was exhausted. I'll tell you the story of that, but I need to get on the fact that after I'd broken down my tent and packed up, I had to climb over a low barbed wire fence before I could cover the last 100 and something feet to the highway. And just as I cleared the fence, all of a sudden I hear right in front of me is a minimum 7-foot diamondback rattlesnake. And what do I got? Nothing handy. I managed to, with my right hand, I think it was, reach in, and I didn't have and they were the connecting types, so but I reached in and grabbed one of my 14-inch tent rods because I had it trapped. It was terrified. It was solid palmettos, just one little spot there. I was just kind of working and as soon as I got out a tent rod, it began to strike. And every time it struck at me, I'm well trained around snakes. I know what I'm doing. I've got nowhere to back up into it without getting my ass tore up. They're only going to give me 1 drop of venom to begin with. It's unlikely it would bite me enough times or give me enough venom to kill me. It might make me sick as a dog, but I'm going to kill you, snake. And every time struck at me. I whacked it in the head with a 14-inch, think of how short that is, 14-inch fiberglass rod. Section of it was one of those that had elastic cords, so that probably was helping to, but I must have whacked it in the head at least 4 times. It struck at me at least about 4 times before it was kind of going down, and I quickly grabbed it behind the head and cut off its head, left the head right there. The next thing you know, I'm hollering like a madman on the side of the highway with passing traffic, holding up a 7-foot, fat ass, big ass diamondback rattler. I went across the highway, figuring I'm going to at least save this skin. And I approached the people at the country club and said, would you mind if I clean this snake here? I'd like to keep the skin, and I think you'd find the meat is delicious. And we're talking about somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 pounds of meat. And they said, yeah, a chance at a delicacy like that. And so I gutted it, skinned it, rolled up the skin and sectioned up. They kept me plenty of water running during the whole process so I wouldn't. And they were vying on who gets to, whether they're going to split it up or whether one person gets it all and the rest of them get to come over for dinner that night. So it came down to one person. It was absolutely the most enthusiastic, and we were talking about methods of cooking it. And while I was preparing it, and I got the skin rolled up on a stick and put it in my pack, in a bag in my pack. I later on turned that beautiful skin into many things: chopstick holder bag, a little holder thing for rolling papers, and joint or two, and all sorts of things. There was a lot. So there's a lot of skin on a 7-foot diamondback rattlesnake. And that whole area is now developed. I doubt that old country club is anywhere. It's probably, and golf course has been turned into housing or whatever. I'm trying to hunt it down on the satellite, but I'm not having much luck at it. But that's what I remember at 8 minutes. That's what I remember about Sarasota, Florida. It took me less than an hour to hitchhike through town, and about another hour and a half in the morning to kill a snake, skin it out, portion up the meat, and I cut it into 7 chunks. And 7 foot long. That's as big as they get. It's quite a thrill too. In close quarters, whacking a big ass snake like that. It's with a 14-inch fiberglass rod. Yeah, that was highly memorable. I doubt I'll make the move to Sarasota. I'm thinking about the spot right over here behind me, but there's been a lot of commercial activity down there. That's actually fiber optic cable that I'm seeing, and they had a trailer full of those about 200-gallon row. Like they had 1,000 gallons, 200-gallon, 250-gallon chemical containers, plastic, and there's quite a bit of activity in and out of there. But I need a smooth surface to walk on. If it ices up, I'm going to have hell trying to get up that little bit of slope, but I really don't know where else to go. And to tell you the truth, I'd rather stay in a town where they have enough money to pay the police to keep the evil fuckers off of me. That's pretty much it. If I get off down around Sarasota and shit like that, I'm pretty much in no man's land. And certainly not around Tampa. I took one good close-up look at Tampa, and it's way too gay for me. Ain't happening. Too big, too. This is about 70,000 people here. And actually, Sarasota and all of its suburbs and shit got to be pretty close to 200,000 or 300,000. I haven't really checked. So the closest I've come to plotting a trip is the first place to, maybe take a nap setting up as soon as I clear the Greyhound bus station. Because I've already checked on Amtrak. No, I ain't putting up with no 3 hours and 3 days and something. And one of the most unpredictable fare, anywhere from $380 to 700. That's crazy. And they actually said that you need to book 11 months in advance to really get the best fares and be sure you're going to get on the train. Yeah, I got 11 months for that. Of course, the bus trip ain't going to go in no 30 hours either. They're going to bump me somewhere along the line. And I'm going to have to hang around someplace that's infested. That's the biggest thing that's keeping me right here, right now, despite the fucking horrible weather coming up, is that this is the devil I do know, as to the opposed to the devil that I know is just as bad or far worse. Actually, I know it's far worse, because this is Pflugerville, Texas. They will put you in jail here if you fuck up big time. You're going to jail here at Pooh, Shiesty.